In the bustling streets of Manhattan, Dr. Diana Silva moves with practiced precision through the emergency room of Mount Sinai Hospital. Her silver-streaked dark hair is pulled back in a practical braid, and her keen gray eyes miss nothing as she navigates between patients. To her colleagues, she's one of the city's most talented trauma surgeons, known for her almost supernatural ability to save lives others might consider lost. Few would guess that beneath this modern facade lies Artemis herself, the ancient Greek goddess of the hunt, moon, and wilderness, who has walked the earth for millennia. The truth of her divine nature lies carefully hidden behind a veil of mortal appearances. Yet there are moments when patients catch glimpses of something otherworldly in her gaze, an ancient wisdom that speaks of forests long forgotten and hunts across moonlit plains. Her choice to become a trauma surgeon wasn't random. In this age of steel and glass, she has found a new way to protect life and death's delicate balance, much as she once did with bow and arrow in hand. Born from Zeus and Leto on the island of Delos, Artemis's earliest memory is of helping her mother through the difficult birth of her twin brother Apollo. It was this experience that first awakened her protective instincts and later influenced her decision to become a guardian of women in childbirth. Even as a young goddess, she knew her path would be different from the other Olympians. While they reveled in their power over mortals, Artemis found herself drawn to the wild places, to the creatures that moved in shadow and silence. In the age of myths, she ran with her nymphs through ancient forests, led the wild hunt beneath star-filled skies, and defended her sacred spaces with fierce determination. Those who crossed her faced swift and merciless justice, like Actaeon, who dared to spy on her while she bathed, or Niobe, whose hubris led to tragedy. Yet she was also known for her mercy, protecting young animals, guiding hunters toward sustainable practices, and ensuring the continuation of nature's cycles. As the centuries passed and humanity's influence grew, Artemis watched with mounting concern as the wild places she loved began to shrink. The Industrial Revolution marked a turning point. Smoke-belching factories replaced sacred groves, and concrete covered the earth where her deer once roamed. It was then that she made a decisive choice. Rather than retreat to Olympus like many of her fellow gods, she would adapt, finding new ways to fulfill her ancient duties in this modern age. The transformation wasn't easy. She spent decades learning to navigate human society, studying its customs and technologies. Her first attempt at a modern identity was as a forest ranger in Yellowstone during the 1930s, where she could still maintain direct contact with the wilderness she loved. But she soon realized that to truly make a difference in this new world, she needed to understand its ways more deeply. The decision to pursue medicine came after witnessing a tragic accident in the park. A young woman, 8 months pregnant, caught in a flash flood. Artemis saved both mother and child that day, but the experience showed her how her divine powers could be channeled through modern means. She began her long journey through medical school, using her immortal patience to master every aspect of trauma surgery. Her divine nature gave her certain advantages: perfect steady hands, intuitive understanding of anatomy, and the ability to work tirelessly through long shifts that would exhaust ordinary humans. Today, as Dr. Silva, she maintains a careful balance between her mortal and divine responsibilities. By day, she works in the hospital, using her skills to save lives at their most critical moments. By night, she still answers the call of the wild, patrolling the city's parks and hidden green spaces in her true form, bow in hand. Her sacred silver weapons have evolved with the times. Her arrows now can pierce not only flesh, but also the digital barriers that poachers and wildlife traffickers use to hide their activities. Her greatest challenge in the modern world isn't monsters or rival gods, but the subtler threats to the natural order she protects. Climate change, habitat destruction, and the extinction of species weigh heavily on her heart. She's had to learn that sometimes the most effective way to fight these battles is through human systems, environmental law, conservation efforts, and public education. She serves on the board of several wildlife preservation organizations, using her influence and immortal wealth to protect what remains of the wild. Yet Artemis hasn't lost any of her ancient power or fierce nature. Those who know her true identity are few, but they speak of moments when the careful facade of Dr. Silva falls away, revealing the goddess beneath. In the operating room during the most critical cases, Some say they've seen a silvery light emanate from her hands, and in those moments, her success rate defies medical explanation. In the city's darkest corners, criminals who prey on the vulnerable sometimes find themselves facing an impossible figure, a woman with eyes like moonlight, wielding a bow that seems made of starlight itself. Her twin brother Apollo, now posing as a brilliant research physician, occasionally collaborates with her on difficult cases, their ancient bond manifesting in perfect surgical synchronization. Their relationship has evolved over the millennia, but the core remains unchanged. Two sides of the same divine coin, balancing light and shadow, healing and hunting. One of her most difficult trials came during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. As death rates soared and hospitals were overwhelmed, Artemis found herself torn between her duty as a healer and her divine nature. The temptation to use her full powers to save everyone was immense, but she understood that even gods must respect the natural order. Instead, she worked tirelessly, using her enhanced stamina to take on impossible shifts, saving those she could while helping others pass peacefully when their time came. Her weapons and tools have evolved with the times, but their essence remains the same. Her bow, disguised as an elegant silver pendant, can still materialize in her hands when needed. Her arrows, once simple silver shafts, now come in varieties suited to modern challenges, some capable of disrupting electronic systems, others that can track fleeing criminals through the urban jungle, and still others that carry healing energy for injured wildlife. Her hunting dogs, once physical hounds that ran at her side, now often take the form of sophisticated drones that help her monitor and protect wildlife preserves. Despite her adaptation to modern life, Artemis maintains her ancient vows of chastity and independence. She finds freedom in this choice, focusing her infinite energy on her missions of protection and healing. Her apartment, high in a Manhattan skyscraper, offers a view of Central Park, her small piece of wilderness in the urban landscape. The space is spartanly furnished but filled with plants and natural light, and a sophisticated computer system helps her monitor wildlife populations and track environmental threats worldwide. Among her greatest strengths is her ability to inspire others to protect the natural world. She has cultivated a network of dedicated conservationists, researchers, and activists, many of whom don't know her true identity but are drawn to her passionate dedication to their cause. Through them, she multiplies her influence, fighting battles on many fronts simultaneously. Yet even a goddess has vulnerabilities. Her greatest weakness remains her fierce reaction to disrespect, not of herself, but of the natural world and those under her protection. There have been incidents where her divine rage has nearly revealed her true nature, particularly when confronting those who deliberately harm the innocent or destroy natural habitats for profit. She's had to learn to channel this anger into more constructive actions, using legal and social means to achieve her goals rather than divine retribution. As a participant in the Narraverse, Artemis brings unique perspectives and abilities. Her experience bridging the ancient and modern worlds gives her insights that few other champions possess. In combat, she combines her traditional hunting skills with modern tactical knowledge, making her a formidable opponent who can adapt to any situation. Her healing abilities add another dimension to her fighting style. She can sustain both herself and her allies through long engagements. The modern world has taught her new kinds of patience and strategy. She understands that some battles are won not with arrows or surgery, but through persistence, education, and the slow work of changing hearts and minds. Yet she remains at her core the fierce protector of the wild, the guardian of the moon's mysteries, and a defender of those who cannot defend themselves. Her story continues to evolve as she finds new ways to fulfill her ancient duties in an ever-changing world. Whether in the operating room saving lives, in the wilderness protecting endangered species, or in the Narraverse representing her realm, Artemis remains true to her essential nature, a guardian of life's delicate balance, a protector of the wild, and a force for justice in both the ancient and modern worlds.